So let's do a little sandbox. I'm going to provide you code for generating a random number. And what I want you to do is get a number from the user and convert it to an integer. And then I want you to tell the user if their guess was too high, too low, or if they guessed correctly using an if, elif, and else block. Now I'm going to walk you through this code and then I'll leave it out for you. Okay, so starting with the comments once again. Intro, guessing game. But before that, we're going to import the random module, which I'll show you in a minute. And we're going to generate a random number, 1 to 10. We'll introduce the guessing game. We'll get input from user. I'm going to convert it right here on the fly. Now, in this game, we're going to pretend like the user is at least smart enough to enter a digit, a number between 1 and 10, instead of typing in a word. You can't normally assume that, but we're going to assume that in this case. That will at least give them the benefit of that doubt. If numbers C number is higher, elif C number, the computer number is lower, else numbers are the same. Now, I could do these in a different order. I could say if the numbers are equal. It doesn't really matter. These are mutually exclusive conditions. This and this and this cannot simultaneously be true. Any two of these cannot simultaneously be true. So this is a good logic block. When you're putting together an if, elif, else, you never want to have things in an if and an elif that could both be true, ever. Similarly, you may be thinking, why don't you just use an if statement for each one of these? I don't want to do that. These are tied to a single decision. So I'm going to use if, elif, and else to make sure that only one of these blocks of code gets executed. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is we're going to do something called import. We're going to import a random module, which is an extra piece of code. It's an addition to the basic Python code that allows us to generate random numbers. Don't worry about how it works. Just follow my lead here. Import random. Okay. So import random. And then I'm going to int computer equals random rand int 110. Basically, what I'm saying here is use the random module to generate a random integer between 1 and 10, put it in that variable. That's all. That's what that does. Don't worry about how it works. Print, welcome to my number guessing game. I'll throw a blank line in there. Get the input from the user. Okay, so we're going to go int user equals input guess a number between 1 and 10. Okay, so now I'm going to strip that input in case they type a space. And I'm also Now I'm using the string method here, but I also want to convert that to an integer right here on the fly on the same line of code. But that's not a string method, so I'm not going to tack it on here at the end. I'm going to put this whole piece, everything, including the strip, inside the int function. So I'm taking all of that. So basically, I'm getting the input from the user. They're going to type a number. I'm stripping off the spaces, and then all of that that's left over gets passed to the int function, which converts it to an integer. And then finally, it gets popped into this. Now, the combination of functions and methods on that one line of code can seem complicated, but the nice thing about doing it this way is that it's very clean in the end, because all I end up with is just one variable that's in the right format, that's the right data type for what I need, right there. Now, the downside here is if the user types the word Joe in here, I will immediately get an error because it will fail trying to convert it to an integer. So there's some upside and downside there. But for the purpose of this, I want to just keep it simple. So now, all that's left is my if, elif, else. So I'm going to go if int c is greater than int u, print your number, your guess is too low because the computer is higher. Elif int c is less than int u, print your guess is too high. And now else, the only other possibility, if it's not greater and it's not less and they're integers, it has to be equal. So print okay, so there's my completed program. Let's run it. Guess a number between 1 and 10. I'll try 4. Your guess is too low. Now, how do I know the computer's not cheating, right? It didn't even tell me what the guess was. So on these two, I'm going to add another line of code. Print the secret number was, let's use an F string here, int C. Now, obviously, if I guess correctly, I don't need that because I guessed the number. But I'm going to put it on these two in case I guess incorrectly. Let's try again. 4. Okay, so now I get to know what the secret number is. And you can see the secret number here is 6. Now, if I want to I'm going to print the secret number out so I can guess correctly this time. So there it is right there. And now if I choose 4, I get the success message. Okay, so delete that because it ruins the game. But now there's my logic. So if, elif, else.